What I mean by that is it actually contradicts being reverent, being beholden, recognizing the awesomeness, the awesome presence of God. When we are wise in our own eyes, we are failing to recognize, watch me, the presence of God. It's as if God is absent. You are denying that God is present. Forget about him being able. Forget about the fact that he gives us direction. When we're wise in our own eyes, we're irreverent. We are not being reverent. And what we are actually saying is that we are denying that God is even present. We don't need him. We don't recognize his presence. Because when God is present, it requires everything, you and I included, to bow before him, to be reverent, to fear him, the fear of the Lord. That means to be reverent, to be in awe, to respect, or to recognize that because God is present, watch, I need to be absent. In the sense of my personal ambition, my personal wisdom, my personal desires now become absent because God is present. The fear of the Lord will make us reverence, will make us bow down and submit our wisdom to him. But now the latter part of that verse is what I really like. It says it will be that when we recognize, I want you to stay with me here, watch this. When we recognize God's presence, it shall be health to thy navel and marrow to thy bones. Health to thy navel. I want you to catch that word. This is the connection point. Health to thy navel. The navel represents the place where the umbilical cord connects the child, the fetus, to the mother in the womb. The umbilical cord. The umbilical cord is we could identify it as the life cord. It's the source of life. It's what connects the baby to life. Without that umbilical cord, there would be no nutrition. There would be no feeding. There would be no sustenance, that which is required to keep the child alive inside of the womb. Now stay with me on this. So the life cord, if you will, if that life cord were severed, the fetus in the womb would immediately deteriorate and die. The severing of that life cord represents the necessity of the child relying on the mother, the fetus relying on the birth giver. Even though the fetus, especially when the fetus is almost full term, has all the physical features and dynamics that are required for life. It has head, arms, legs, feet, toes. The inside organs are all in place, from the brain to the heart, the lungs. Everything is present and working. But if you disconnect the fetus from the life cord, regardless, with all of those working parts in place, the child in the womb will deteriorate and die. Here's what we want to draw from that analogy. When the child gets out of the womb, when the mother gives birth to the full-grown baby, the baby naturally retains that connection, that necessity of feeding, to the extent the nature of a newborn is to nurse from the mother's breast. You got to think about this. You don't send a little infant, that's just born. You don't send the little infant to a special class and now we got to teach you, how to feed from the mother's breast. That's not required because it's inborn. It is in the nature of this newborn child to feed from the mother's breast. You don't have to teach them. It's a part of their nature.